I know that if you clicked on this video, you are a curious mom who wants to know better about herself. I also know that you do a lot of research about being a mom, about postpartum, probably about pregnancy, and you probably hear a lot of advice about motherhood, about how to take care of your mind, of your body, and sometimes some of them are really useful and others feel totally unattainable. Today I'm going to tell you why through the wisdom of Ayurveda, which is an ancestral way of life coming from India, which explains that we all have very unique mind-body types. And in this video, we're going to talk about those main 3 mind-body types that you may recognize yourself in. And this is useful because each mind-body type has a very specific way of living, of digesting, of sleeping, of dreaming, of acting, and of mothering. By the end of this video, you will be able to know which mind-body type is yours, and you will also be able to start tailoring all the pieces of advice you hear to your own mind-body type. Let's dive right in. My name is Manon and I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner helping women and especially mamas feel more radiant and nurtured in their life. So if that's you, feel free to subscribe and join us in this circle. Before we start, you may recognize yourself in more than one type. You may even recognize yourself in all 3 types. Why? Because those types are based on humors. Humors in ancestral medicine means a liquid, an energy that circulates in the body and that has a function. So it's normal that you have all functions in your body. You need to digest, you need to move, you need to build muscle. So if you feel like you have a little bit of all 3 of them, that is normal, you do, but 1 or 2 are gonna dominate in your mind and body. So before we dive into the 3 types per se, we need to talk about the elements because each type is going to be dominated by 1 or 2 elements. The elements that I'm talking about are ether or space, air, fire, water, and earth. Those elements are present everywhere in you, around you, and in any single being on this planet, which is very useful because you know that if you need more fire element in your life, you can find it in food, you can find it in places, you can find it in people. So you can use everything around you as a medicine. So as I go through the 3 types, think about the element and what could represent that element. For example, for ether, you can imagine space, literally an emptiness, empty space. The second element is air. Air, you can see wind. Wind is very close to the element of air. It's moving, it's dry, it's cold. And then if you go to the next element, which is fire, fire is literally like the fire you would have in your fireplace. Hot, transformative. Next element being water, and you can just imagine the regular water you would have around you. It is generally cooling, heavy, flowy, liquid. And then we go to the element of earth, and earth is dense. It's the denser element of all. It is stable, it's not moving, and it's heavy. So if you want to dive deeper in a little bit in the basics of Ayurveda and you're curious about what this beautiful ancestral medicine system way of life can offer you, you can download my free Intro to Ayurveda guide under this video. Let's get into the types. We're going to start with the more subtle type, which is called Vata. If you are a wind type, you are a mama bird. So the Vata types or mama birds are made of ether and air, which means that they have a lot of movement and a lot of lightness in them, which makes them very creative, very fast-paced. They love multitasking, but they can get lost in all the things they do and they commit to. They are very flexible, adaptable, but they can be forgetful, anxious, suffered from dry skin, constipation, bloating. From all 3 types, mama birds are the one who suffer the most from sleep issues in general, and especially during postpartum. And mama birds also tend to have difficulty to maintain and gain weight. It is not easy because everything in them is light. They have a hard time keeping all the nutrients and the good food they eat. So that's something we need to consider when you eat food. You cannot just stuff food in your face and gain weight. That's not how it works, especially for mama birds. They usually during postpartum have a low milk supply. It's for the same reason they are light in general. They have a hard time keeping nutrients down. So their milk supply tends to be a little lower than the other 2 types. And they can also be quite disorganized. It's hard for mama birds to focus on one thing only because they love to do multiple things at a time. They love to multitask, and focusing on one thing it requires a lot of energy for them. So they can usually have this disorganized way of living, which can be quite draining for them, but also their way of living. What I'm saying is that don't try to fit, if you're a mama bird, don't try to fit the to-do list and the super well designed organizer and schedule, because that would be more of the fire type that we're going to explore afterwards. So if you tend to go left and right and you just live dancing all the time, going from one activity to another, and it works for you, bless you. This video is only here to help you understand yourself and how to feel better and more nurtured and radiant as a mother. So if you're a mama bird, please let me know in the comments. We are going to the lava type, the fire type, or the mama lion. The mama lioness, she's usually driven, passionate, very organized, very sharp. She can easily get irritated or angry. She is task-oriented. She needs to get down that to-do list. She hates being interrupted. It's very hard for that type compared to the mama birds. Mama lioness hate having to multitask and being interrupted all the time. They need a lot of food. The mama lioness needs to be fed. And if they're not, their fire can turn against themselves and they could feel more angry, more anxious even, and they could also lose weight because of that. They're usually very organized. It's very easy for them to make the perfect schedule, to follow it, to have something very specific with details and times. Mama lioness tends to be competitive, which is a beautiful quality. You can use it in sports, you can use it in your business, you can use it to feel better and to get better as a person, but it can sometimes lead to a lot of comparison and a lot of, oh, look at this person, they're doing much better than I am, I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough. The I am not enough is very typical of mama lioness. And sometimes mama lioness also compare their kids. So if you find yourself looking at other kids and saying, oh, look, they're doing this and this already, my kid is not doing that, maybe I should do more of that, maybe I should force them to do this, you definitely have this fiery type inside of you. Usually we recognize mama lioness because they want to get back to work quickly after giving birth. They want to get going, they want their life back. Most women do, but especially women who have this fiery energy. And on the physical level, they tend to have a sensitive skin, so they tend to have more irritated red skin or sometimes have pimples and more skin issues in general. They have very strong digestion, sometimes too strong, and their weight is usually pretty stable. They can easily gain or lose weight. And compared to mama birds who tend to have very thin features, a very small, petite body, mama lions tend to be average, medium, not too thin, but not also too curvy if they're balanced. So if you find yourself in that middle ground physically, you most likely are a mama lioness. And now let's move to the third mind body type, which is called in Ayurveda Kapha, but we are going to call it clay type or mama bear. Mama bear has a dominance of water and earth in her mind and her body, which makes her a very stable mother, grounded. She usually keeps on weight easily to the point of having a hard time losing it. She's loving, affectionate, very tender, slow-paced. However, she may be prone to depression because of that lack of movement in her system. She can tend to feel a little heavy on the physical and emotional side. She can suffer from lethargy. Because postpartum is governed by the air element, there's a lot of movement during birth, there's a lot of emptiness after you gave birth. So usually the air element, the wind type, tends to aggravate a lot in your system. So mothers who have a lot of water and earth tend to be much more stable on the physical and emotional level. From the three types, they are the ones who have the highest milk supply. Usually they produce a lot of milk easily. They also don't suffer as much from sleep deprivation. So any person needs a good amount of sleep, quality sleep. But of all the three types, mama bears are the ones who do usually the best because they don't need as much sleep as the two previous types. And usually mama bears are calm people. They prefer to stay home. They don't really like the idea of going back to work. They like nesting, they like doing things by the fire. They're really about the comfort of a nurturing mother. So this is just scratching the surface of what Ayurveda can offer you. But if you want to dive deeper in your own mind-body type, understand what it entails, how you can use it to design and tailor your life, I would recommend you to download the free Intro to Ayurveda guide under this video. And if you have any question, please come ask them in the comment section, or you can also find me on Instagram. And if you are postpartum and you really want to remove all the heaviness you feel and find more clarity in your mind and body, you want to watch this video where I talk about how to detox in a healthy way, in an Ayurvedic way for postpartum moms, and I go through all 3 types of moms. So I'll see you in this video or a different one, and until next time, stay radiant and nurtured. Bye bye.